Um, it's been a huge progression over time to learn and understand that we are more than our physical bodies. I've never been more certain in life after death. I even think, based on NDEs, which I'm sure you guys know, people describe the other side as more real than what we're experiencing now. So based off of, my experiences with Chris and the orbs and reading books on NDEs, that this is like not even the real world, man. This is like where we're here to learn stuff, and that our consciousness lives on forever, that your consciousness can leave your body, right? Having out-of-body experiences and whatnot. But it's been a long progression. Yeah.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. We have a very special guest lined up for you tonight, and I'm stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey there, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together. Kory?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kory. I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and with our audience. And today we are exploring one of my favorite kinds of mysteries, those that remind us just how connected we truly are to the universe around us. My guest, Kory, had her life completely transformed after meeting Chris Bledsoe in the spring of 2024. Shortly after that meeting, something incredible began to happen. She started seeing orbs of light appearing in the sky. What began as a simple curiosity quickly became something much deeper. Through deep connection and intention, Kory discovered that the phenomenon is more than what you think it is. It's not just lights in the sky, it's an invitation. A conversation between dimensions, between love and light, and between us and something far greater than we can yet explain. Since then, she's dedicated her life to exploring this phenomenon and teaching others how to connect with these higher dimensional beings through love, presence, and intention. On her YouTube channel, she shares skywatching adventures, insights into consciousness, and tips on how you can begin to experience these magical encounters for yourself. So get ready to open your mind, expand your heart, and look up, because tonight we're talking about light, connection, and the consciousness that unites us all. Kory, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for the awesome introduction. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like your story is one that we love to talk about. Obviously, like we just mentioned before we started the official call, that we've been doing CE5 for a minute and a day. So it's like, yes, anytime we can bring somebody on to talk about this kind of subject and shed light and give tips for others who would like to delve into this kind of stuff, I'm here for it.
Awesome. I can't wait to talk about all this stuff. It's like my favorite thing in the world to talk about, so I'm ready for it.
Awesome. So cool. Can you take us back to that first moment when you met Chris Bledsoe and what shifted for you afterwards?
Yes. So I found Chris's story close to 2 years ago. I read his book in January of 2024. And I found out that he was going to do a book signing a few months later in April in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I just had this little voice in my head telling me, like, if you don't meet him now, like if you don't go now, you're going to miss like this big opportunity. And little did I know that this was the beginning of hearing these, not like a crazy person, but hearing these voices in my head, that I think a lot of people attribute to intuition and stuff like that. It could be these higher dimensional beings. That's what I believe. But it was the beginning of these higher dimensional beings guiding me. And so I just couldn't shake this feeling of like, I got to meet Chris. And if I don't, then I might miss this opportunity. So I met Chris in Wilmington in April, and he and the family is just incredible. And also the people that travel from all around the world just to meet him and meet each other, they are amazing people too. I know that like the UFO community is full of a bunch of different factions. You have like
You can say that again.
the debunkers, and then you have like the people who believe in reptilians, and you have all of these different types of people, which is fine. But there is like a lot of also negativity and toxicity out there surrounding the UFO phenomenon. But when it comes to these people, there's something about Chris's story that brings these super passionate and kind-hearted people together that are just focused on light and love. So that in itself really, really changed my life. Even aside from experiencing the orbs, just understanding a greater depth of like love and what love and gratitude and surrounding yourself with positive people, what that can do to enrich your life and make positive changes in your life. So I met all of these incredible people, and we got to see orbs. It was my first time seeing orbs, although after the experience, maybe we can talk about this a little later, but I look back at an experience I had when I was a child that I now believe was a contact with orbs. But at the time I was like, oh, maybe that was just aliens. But so anyway, I know this is long-winded, but
no, you're good.
I got to see the orbs, and I was so inspired, and as I call it, orb-obsessed. I'm like, I have to do this on my own.
You should totally make that a t-shirt.
I know. I have a friend who makes these cool buttons that he hands out to people, and one of them says orb-obsessed, so he made me a big one and gave that one to me.
Love that.
Awesome.
So I was like, I got to go out and see if I can do this on my own, because that's what Chris tells people. That's what he says in his book, is that go out and do this on your own. And very soon after meeting Chris, I figured out that you can do this on your own. It's easier than you think. And it's directly connected to love and spirituality, 100%.
Yeah, I love his approach to it. I'm curious, had you tried any like CE5 or heist type of experiences prior to meeting Chris, or was Chris like your initiation into the whole thing?
No, I had never tried any of that. I mean, I was always intrigued by like aliens, and I always thought, you hear the stuff on the news about drones and about these like disclosure committees and trying to get this information out there, but it's always just like pulling you along on a string and like barely giving you any information at all, and then just disappointing you in the end. So, that was
a pretty good summary.
I mean, that's what they're doing. And so before I found Chris's story, I paid attention to that type of stuff. It did excite me to think that there was something out there other than us. Because if we're the only things out here, like that's kind of sad and lonely if you think about it. And it just leaves a lot of questions as to like, what about the afterlife and, all of these other weird paranormal things that are going on around us, because I don't know about you guys, but I've had weird paranormal, somewhat ghostly type experiences throughout my life. So it kind of leaves a lot of questions regarding that type of stuff too. So again, I had never tried to make any contact on my own, although I did think that it was very interesting and definitely interested me to find out more.
Fair enough. So you had just enough interest that when your spirit guides pushed Chris Bledsoe's book onto your path that you paid attention to it. And then from there, it just kind of spiraled, right?
Yeah, because I had never, I had really pushed God out of my life for like the first 30 years of my life. I dabbled in some spirituality here and there, but it was like, I wouldn't even like say the name God. I would talk about the universe as the higher power. I would be like, oh, there's no God. It's just the universe. So finding Chris's story, it was like all of a sudden something just clicked in my mind.
Interesting.
Where I was like, okay, so there's a connection between science and spirituality here. And it just clicked in my mind. And like who I am now as a really spiritual person that is really connected to God. If I saw a few years ago, if I could see the future, I'd be like, I don't even recognize that girl. Like what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can relate to that too. Like if I think back to the version of me prior to my spiritual awakening, like I don't even know that girl no more. Like, how is she?
I was actually a staunch atheist for probably 20 years. And then I found the UFO topic, And I took a hard look at the science on how some of these objects that were being observed, how they could move the way they were moving, how they could go from 80,000 feet to, or space, to the surface of the ocean in 0.7 seconds. And in doing that, led me to quantum mechanics, and then studying quantum mechanics led me to spirituality through Dr. Stephen Greer, of all people. And so that's pretty much how my spiritual awakening commenced. So yeah, I'm right there with you. If I could look back at myself, let's say 10 years ago, I would not recognize, the person that I am
So
today.
we all three can agree on that.
Yeah, very relatable. Yeah, I wouldn't even want to necessarily talk to people that if they even mentioned Jesus or God, I would be like putting a wall up and being like, oh, I can't relate to this person at all because they believe in God, they believe in Jesus. And yeah, I mean, I feel bad about it now, but it's all about progression through life. And, there's many chapters of our lives. So,
right. As long as you're like improving and doing better than the person you were yesterday, you're good. You're all right.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't know everything up front. You learn it as you go. So that's
literally.
The best we can
and
do.
This Earth school is a hard knock life kind of lesson too. So we got to give ourselves a little grace, a little credit.
Exactly.
So what did you first feel or sense like when you started observing and experiencing these orbs for yourself?
I felt a lot of love and excitement and just pure shock of like, how is this going on all around us? And like, people just don't know, or they just ignore it, or they don't realize. It was really just reality shifting. It like just broke my world apart. And I've had like some close encounters too, where like, you just start to realize like, it kind of feels like we're living in the Matrix a little bit, which there's a lot of theories about that. So
right. Yeah. Simulation theory.
Yeah.
Dr. Hoffman.
It has felt like that a lot of times over the last year and a half, 2 years for me. But the majority of what I feel regarding this phenomenon is love and gratitude. And since implementing, especially gratitude into like my daily life, I've seen like literal things manifest around me that like, or a situation I'm in. If I'm in a tough situation and I just like go through my gratitudes and say a little prayer, then it's like within 24 hours, it'll completely turn around in my favor. And like, I don't even have to worry about it anymore. And so there is an aspect to this phenomenon that is really rewarding. And I think it comes down to love and gratitude. That's just my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. To be honest, I think that me and us finding our more spiritual path, finding our spirit guides. I call them my spirit guides. I think that led Allie and I together to meet each other.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. And we the reason why we met is because he asked me if he could join the CE5 group. So like we literally met around.
Yeah, but I was at a pretty low.
That's so funny.
I was at a pretty low place in my life at that time, and finding UAP, which led me to spirituality, led me asking for help and to find my person that I was supposed to be with.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I kept saying that over and over and over again, asking for help, thanking them. And it was a place out of love and gratitude. And to my surprise, within a couple of weeks, Allie and I met.
Just like that. Isn't that crazy?
It is. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
And we clicked right from the get-go.
Yep, sure did. But yeah, love and intention are really important. And I find I gravitate towards that approach a lot, because when I hear people say stuff like they summon UFOs, I'm like, ooh, cringe.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just like makes my insides feel weird. I'm like, ugh, I don't like that, because it's like, to me, the word summoning is more like a demand, or like you're going to do this because I want you to kind of thing. Whereas like Chris Bledsoe's approach is more just like sending out love and gratitude and then allowing them to respond. There's no like direction or instruction. It's just like an invitation. I prefer invitation methods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no, I completely agree with you. They're free will beings like we
yeah.
are. So to say that you're in control of them with your mind and that you can force them to come to you is a little ridiculous in my opinion. But the best way to get them to respond is through love and invitation, like you just said.
Yeah. So what's your process? Do you mind walking our audience through like when you want to go and have a connection? Like how do you prepare? What do you do? And then what do you usually experience?
So I like to look at the weather ahead of time and make sure, there's going to be a clear night. I get a lot of people that ask me about, if it's cloudy, will I see them? And yes, it is possible. But even Chris Bledsoe, he's so funny. I went skywatching with him a little while ago, and he even said it was a super cloudy night. He's like, when I'm at home and it's this cloudy, I'm not outside. Like, but we're here because everybody's together and everybody wants to skywatch. And but I prefer picking a very clear night and picking it a couple of days in advance, because what I'll do is I'll set that intention and let that intention build up over a couple of days, and I'll say prayers to them, and I'll say this is the day and time and the place that I plan on skywatching. If you'd be willing to connect with me and illuminate, and if you'd be extra willing to let me film it so that I can share it with the world, because I'm trying to help people see and understand that they can do this too. So building that
Consent
intention.
energy. I love that.
Yeah. And just letting them know my plans ahead of time so they can clear their schedule if they have anything going on.
Yeah.
But, so I have meditated in the past prior to sky watches. That's not a part of my normal practice, but I would say it's very beneficial. You can just do some light meditation, even if it's only for a few minutes. But at the very least, when you get outside, close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and just really settle in that emotion and think about love and gratitude. And you can pray to them or speak to them in your mind. I like to do it out loud because I feel like your words carry further, maybe vibrationally or frequency wise. And I prefer to skywatch later, around 10 p.m. or a little later, because that's usually past the time that you're going to be seeing most visible satellites. So I also like to, there's this website called heavensabove.com. And if I put in my exact coordinates, it'll pull up all of the satellites and the star links that would be visible from my location. And it gives a timestamp for all of them. So for example, the other night I looked it up and it said past 8:51 p.m. that no satellites were going to be visible. So I was like, all right, so sometime after 9 o'clock, I'll go out, and that's pretty much, I'm good to go there. I don't have to worry about seeing a lot of satellites. So that's kind of what I recommend for people, and to be patient most of all, because there are still plenty of times that I go out and I don't see much. And then there's sometimes I go out and I just say a quick prayer, and then I see 3 of them come together, and then I see 2, and then I see 2, and then it's nothing. It's just them saying hello and responding to my prayer. So, not even I or Chris Bledsoe can force them to show up, or anybody who's been doing this for years can't force them to show up. They're going to show up when they want to, and be patient. And if you don't see them, don't be discouraged. That's a normal part of the process. Maybe you guys have felt that too, is that if you go weeks, sometimes even a month or 2, where you're just not seeing them, don't be discouraged. They're always there and listening. And for whatever reason, they're just not appearing, and they will show up again one day. You got to trust that.
That's amazing. So speaking of the looking ahead of time and trying to pick a day that's clear and not cloudy, we had a really amazing experience. We went to the spiritual retreat summer camp, and while we were there, there was 18 of us, I think 15 of us ended up going out to do this contact
1 or 2 people
meditation. And when we all went into this field, it was storming out.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, completely just raining, lightning, everything, right?
Lots
The
of
wind.
lightning.
And we set the intention, to have a good peaceful contact. And we started the meditation. All of us were meditating. It was a guided meditation. And there was this lady there. She was singing, and she had a singing bowl. She was playing the singing bowl, and she was singing, and she went around the whole entire circle. And literally, That took maybe 10 minutes. And by the time she made it around the circle, the sky had completely cleared up. Crystal
Wow.
clear skies. You could see for miles and miles, right? I mean, like the storm wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we saw so many orbs.
Hmm.
It was phenomenal. That was one of the most profound CE5s I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
And then a few nights later, no, not a few nights later. What am I talking about?
The next night. Yeah.
We had like a costume dance party kind of thing. It was like outside by the campfire. I was wearing my little space girl uniform. He was the alien with the guy holding the alien, like the blow up alien costume that everybody wears.
It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Our friend Leslie, she had her butterfly costume. Anyways, and so we did it again. But like, I feel like that night, in my opinion, we saw even more things in the sky because everybody was so happy. Like everybody was just in this open heart, open mind, joyful, kid-like mindset, zero expectations, zero demands. And we just went out there in like this happy, high vibrational state. And man, they were there. They were like, we out here. I see you.
Wow. Yeah, it's totally connecting with that happiness in your inner child too.
Right.
That's super important. So like, being dressed up in costumes and just being goofy. And one of the best sky watches that I ever had, my friends and I were quoting SpongeBob for like 30 minutes, like our favorite SpongeBob quotes. And we were just laughing and laughing. And then after a little while, that's when the orbs showed up. So that totally tracks for what they respond to. And I think of it as like, the law of attraction as far as your energy goes. So whatever you put out, that's going to draw them in. And if you're in a bad mood, if you're worrying about your bills, if you just had a fight with your spouse and you just got stuff that's on your mind, and you're trying to skywatch, then that might not be the best time because of the energy that you're putting out, and that's okay. We all have bad days sometimes, but
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's another great point to bring up. And sorry if I'm cutting you off, but you're making me think of times where, because we do, like we've been talking about, we do CE5 through our Discord community online. So sometimes there's new people that want to join, and I always, I'm always welcome to new people joining, but at the same time, I'm like protective of my little group of people that we do it with, because I know how outside energies can influence the group. Like if someone random comes in who's not in a meditative mindset and has a million bad things that they're thinking about and trying to do CE5 with us, it's going to functify. It's going to functify the energy.
Disprove it or debunk it.
Yeah, we've had that too. So it's like that is very important. Like I feel like when you have your head right and your heart right, that's cool. And then if somebody comes in with a lot of things on their mind or whatever, it could muddy the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. I totally agree. I personally, I have skywatched with people that have kind of just messaged me online. I have to be a little cautious about that because you never know who you're messing with, kind of thing. My poor husband is like, do I need to come with you to these things? Like you're just going up and meeting these strangers on the internet. But I always ask people, like, do you believe in this stuff, or are you looking to, like, are you a debunker kind of thing? Because I'm just not going to deal with that energy, and I'll give them the tools and what they need to do. But if you're looking to debunk, or if you don't believe and you're looking for something to be proven to you, then that's just kind of a personal journey that you should maybe take the first step yourself, or find other people like you and see if you guys can pull something off. But I don't want that energy in the group personally.
Right. And I find when we do get some of those people that are like that, the orbs don't show up.
No,
they don't come. Right. And if you try to record them, I feel like, in my opinion, you definitely need to ask permission first. If they do show up and then you just bust out your phone, a lot of times they go away.
That's why earlier, when she was telling her story, I was like, consent energy, because like you have to ask permission. Like you can't just put a phone in somebody and be like, gotcha.
Yeah, I still ask every single time. I'm like, if you're willing, please let me film, because there are times where I don't ask, maybe I forget, and it might be kind of quiet that night. And I'm like, did I actually ask them for permission to film? And I think it's just a courtesy, it's also respect, and trust and faith. Like it's building a relationship like you would with another human. I've learned is just having that trust and faith with each other.
So how did these experiences affect your sense of reality, or the way you even view reality?
Oh, that's so hard to put into words.
Right.
So I was just telling this story the other day, but so it's fresh on my mind. But I met Chris, and then like literally 2 or 3 months later started a new job, and this was a good job. I was working in like project management, project estimation kind of job. And I was working in like these spreadsheets all day and, communicating with people in the office all day. And I had like a close encounter on my own when I went solo camping. And after I had this close encounter with something that was like right next to me, it totally broke my world open. And like, I just felt like, I'm like, I don't want this job anymore. Like, I feel like I don't even connect with these people. I don't connect with the job. And it's not that I was like not taking the job seriously or I was slacking or anything, but it felt like my mind was just going elsewhere all the time. And I'm like, this doesn't matter to me anymore. Like, these people are working 60 hours a week and they're focused on all this money. They're very Wolf of Wall Street type people. And I was like, I am not like this. I've never been like this, but I couldn't be further from this than I am right now. Yeah. So having these encounters has really put a lot of things into perspective for me about what's important in my life, what I'm willing to put my energy into. Like, I don't like putting my energy into stuff that doesn't really matter to me that much anymore, to be honest. Like I ended up quitting that job almost a year later so that I could just solely pursue putting this stuff out there on the internet, making videos, meeting up with people, traveling and meeting with people, because that's more fulfilling to me, is helping people realize like, oh, I can do this. And it's super easy. And also helping them connect their spirituality to this phenomenon is really important to me too, because that's my personal belief, is the more you strengthen your spirituality, your connection to God, the more you'll have this type of experience. So, there's been moments where it felt like, even like I said, like there was like a tear in the matrix and I'm like getting a peek into something totally different. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I haven't really spoken about this on this type of platform before, but back in June, I started having these like really bad panic attacks that started coming on out of nowhere. And I didn't fully understand like what was going on. But I think that they're honestly related to these types of experiences and being so close to this phenomenon and seeing like my world and my reality shifting, because the more you expand your consciousness, it feels like it's hard to keep my consciousness like in my body sometimes, if that makes sense.
I get it.
So, for anybody who's diving super deep into these types of topics, like it's really important to take time to slow down and nurture yourself and make sure that you're in a good spot. And if you feel like you're going crazy, you're not going crazy. just know that. So, it has benefited my life in so many ways. There has been some harder moments, some more challenging moments, but everything has been really, really amazing.
Okay, this is a great time to ask you this, since we're already talking about it. For those who want to try connecting themselves, what would you say is like a good first step for them to start doing?
Prayer. That would be my number one thing to start with, because that's personally what I started with. Obviously I'm a little biased, but everybody should check out Chris Bledsoe's story. And there's plenty of interviews out there. You can read his book, UFO of God. But like the first thing he's going to tell you to do is to pray. And that's just what I would recommend. And when I found Chris's story, like I said, I didn't have a relationship with God, like at all. So when I first stepped outside on my porch and I sat there and I was like getting ready to say my first prayer, I'm like, hey, God, it's me. Like, I know it's been a while. I haven't prayed since I was a little kid, but, it could be a little awkward at first, but just know that taking that first step, I think, is most important, is showing your love and connection with God. And just, if you don't even know what to say, just tell God what you're grateful for and what you're thankful for. Having a roof over your head, having a good support system. And when I have a bad day, that's when I pray the hardest, because I'm like, now I need to go through 10 or 20 extra things that I'm grateful for. And I thank God, thank you for giving me this tough day, because it reminds me of what a good day looks like. And it's just making me a stronger, tougher person. So there's always something to be grateful for. And that's just what I recommend starting with, is prayer.
That's a great first step. Absolutely. And I feel like a gratitude list is always a good go-to for beginning feeling grateful, but also, like you said, when you're struggling and having like just one of them days, like I know there's days where like, okay, I'll give an example where like I have like 3 hamper full of clean clothes that I just washed, and now I have to hang them all up and fold them and put them away, right? And I get grumpy about it, but in my head I'm like, no, Allison, divert the grumpiness into gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful I have a house to live in, to wash my clothes in. I'm grateful for clean water. I'm grateful for these machines that make my job easier so I don't have to hand wash them. I'm grateful for this opportunity to have a closet to hang my clean clothes until they're ready for me to wear them again, you know, like, and then as soon as I start doing that, it's like the funk just leaves and I'm just like, yay.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to do that with myself too, or I'll be like, thank you, God, for having 2 hands, because, you know, I know people out there that don't, and they're fighting every day, and, you know, probably doing a better job than me at stuff. So, you know, just got to be grateful for what feels like the little things, but if you didn't have them, it would totally change your life. So totally agree.
So you mentioned prayer earlier. Is prayer and meditation kind of similar, do you think? Or do you think they're 2 totally different things?
No, that's a really good question. I hadn't considered that. I think that they're similar in the sense of having intention. So you go into meditation with an intention, and that could be a lot of different things. Your intention to just kind of slow your mind down, your intention to connect with your guides, to connect with your higher self. And then prayer, you put in a lot of intention, but I had never really thought about that or made that connection. But now I'm going to be thinking about that when I go into meditation.
Yeah, because when I first started learning how to meditate, you know, and I was talking to my spirit guides in meditation, you know, I was like, wait a minute, I'm praying, you know, I'm like actively praying.
I can see
so
that.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that, you know, that meditation and prayer are very similar, in my opinion. I mean, obviously not exactly the same, but I've gotten a lot of good or awesome information from meditation, and I
same.
You know, right.
I feel like it's the common. Okay, so I'm picturing a Venn diagram. You got meditation over here, prayer over here, and then in the middle you got that gray area, right? And I feel like inside that gray area, it's just an intentional internal conversation with Source or God, or you know, insert name for who you pray to here, kind of thing. So it's like it's just that internal, intentional conversation. So
yeah, it feels like when I pray, I feel really connected to God. And I don't know about you guys, but I get like tingles like up and down my legs when I pray, and I feel like I'm locked in. But when I'm meditating, that's kind of like being on the phone almost. It feels like with God, or like with your you know, these higher beings or spirit guides that are guiding you. So that's a really cool perspective. I'm gonna think about that some more when I meditate. For sure.
Awesome.
You gave her mental homework.
I'm glad I can do that.
Yeah.
I know where I want to take this next, because we just talked about how, because I asked you if people want to start this process, where do they begin? And we said, you know, you should start with some prayer. Okay, so now we've set our intentions, we've said our prayers, we've opened our hearts with love and gratitude, we've put that out into the cosmos. What's the next step? Now what? I'm trying to give us like instructions for people in the audience, like if they want to do this themselves, like, okay, you did the first step, then what?
Yeah, I mean, I would say find a nice, quiet, dark area. You know, I just skywatch in my backyard now. I used to live in Tampa, Florida, which was like, I could, you know, I had, what, is there a synchronicity there?
We live in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
I just moved over the summer to North Carolina.
Oh, we just, darn.
Oh, but you know what? In about a month, I'll be heading back down for a couple days. So I'll shoot you guys a message, and maybe we can get together. Maybe we can go out to Indian Rocks Beach and we can skywatch.
Yes, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Cool. I'm so glad I mentioned that.
My mom, her favorite beach is Indian Rocks Beach.
That is so Indian Rocks Beach is where I used to skywatch all the time, because that was like the darkest, kind of quietest place near me.
And there's a third one coming in too. Oh my God. Could you maybe send out a bright triangle, please? Or a bright straight line? Maybe 2 or 3 bright orbs? Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Thank you. That is so cool. And there's a third one coming in too. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But now that I live in North Carolina, it's, a little darker. You can see the stars better. So I just skywatch in the backyard, but I recommend people go to wherever they can, where they're not going to be distracted by light pollution is like number one. You don't want to be distracted by cars and their headlights and the sounds of a highway.
Mhm.
And, a place with as few people as possible. There's been plenty of times where I skywatched on the beach and it was like nice and quiet, nobody's around, and the orbs are popping off. And then this one person comes out with like a flashlight that's like 10,000 lumens,
Oh,
and they're
gosh.
like, he's sifting through the sand and they're just pointing the flashlight everywhere. And and I don't know if it's because my mental connection breaks or if because they're just somebody else has come into the mix, but then they'll quiet down for like 20 minutes until the person's like way out of range, and then they start coming back. So a place with as few distractions. I'm so sorry about my rabbit if you guys can hear him scurrying.
Oh, it's fine.
You're totally
He's
fine.
such a pain.
Aw.
Oh,
But yeah, go somewhere with as few distractions and no rabbits or anything distracting you. And you will probably see something.
Awesome. So if someone is like new to this and they do everything that we just said and they see a light in the sky, how can someone know if what they're seeing is more than just like a satellite or something? You've already mentioned the app, but I guess what I'm ultimately trying to ask you is like, is there a feeling? Do you like feel a connection? Have you ever received any messages, any third eye visions, anything like that? Any kind of connections?
Yeah. So I speak out loud to them a lot, and I kind of know over time that they respond to what you say. They respond to how you're feeling. So if I'm asking like a specific question, I'll say straight out, like, could you please illuminate if, and then I'll ask a question and they'll illuminate and respond. Or sometimes, if I'm recording, I will say, I'll think of maybe somebody who I want to send a little light and love to. Maybe it's somebody who I know is going through a tough time, or just a friend, or whatever the case may be. And I'll say, if you're willing, can you please send some light and love to this person? And then a lot of times 1 or 2 will show up. So don't be afraid of interacting with them. That's going to be like one of the best ways for you to identify if you're dealing with these orbs, because they want to interact with you. They're very playful, very loving. There have been times where I've received what feels like messages, and they sound like my own voice in my head, but it's like as if it's just a thought popping into my head that I didn't have. It just came out of nowhere. One example is I was at Indian Rocks Beach and I was filming, and it was late one night, and I was like, this is the first time I ever asked this. I said, can you put anything into my mind, anything that I don't know yet?
Ooh,
And then out of my mouth, I said April 22nd. And I was like, that's weird. Okay. Look, an orb. Anyway, and then I forgot about it. Well, the next morning at like 8 a.m, I had a doctor's appointment. I went to my doctor's appointment and they said, all right, well, we need a follow up in 3 months. How about April 22nd?
Oh, snap.
I was like, whoa.
Wow.
All right. So, yeah, just like kind of funny little things like that. I mean, it's not like they gave me like the
winning
secret
lotto
teachings
numbers.
of, or the secret teachings of the universe. I said, tell me something I don't know yet. And they're
But
like,
they deliver.
well, yeah, they're like, well, you're going to have plans on April 22nd. You just don't know it yet. Yeah.
So where do you see your work in this phenomena heading in the coming years?
I just hope to reach as many people as possible with my videos, with skywatching. I want to hopefully inspire people to see themselves in my shoes and be like, okay, I can do this. And what that's going to do is it's like a grassroots movement. The more people that are inspired to do this and who are able to, then they can reach more people. And then those people can reach more people. And like, what better way to spread light and love than just trying to connect with as many people as possible? So I hope to travel and just meet people face to face and just make more videos and have a lot of fun along the way, because if you're not having fun, then you ain't doing it right.
Right.
Absolutely.
This shouldn't be stressful or, bog you down in any way. It's all about light and love. So just keep that at the forefront of your mind and you're doing all right. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
That's one of the most, or what's been one of the funnest moments that you've had since you've started doing this?
I would say being at the Monroe Institute in May. I went to the Gateway Voyage retreat with a group of really cool people. Some of them I had met, some of them I had never met before. And we wanted to skywatch. So we went out 1 or 2 nights and we didn't see anything. The weather wasn't the best on some of those nights, but then I think it was like a Wednesday night, we went out and I had my camera set up and, we got everybody together and stood in a circle and put our intentions out. And I was a little nervous because this was kind of like the first skywatch I had ever facilitated like on my own. And I wasn't like organizing it, but because of my experiences, there were a lot of people there that hadn't experienced orbs. So they kind of, had a lot of questions for me and how they can connect and strengthen this connection. So I felt a little nervous because I'm like, I really want these people to leave having had an experience that they'll never forget. So they can go home and they can keep doing this and building on this connection. And so we all stood in a circle and we invited them in and said, we wish to connect with you. We welcome you here with us. We're not afraid. We love you. And we're grateful for you and bringing us all together and whatnot. And there were a few people that trickled away to bed that didn't want to stay up too late. And once it was down to, I don't know, maybe like 10 of us, the orbs came out and it was like a phenomenal experience. And like, there was this one moment my friend turned to me and he's like, Kory, you are skywatching in Robert Monroe's backyard right now. Like, it was just like this crazy cool moment where I was like, whoa, my life is crazy.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. It's a triangle. There's a triangle right there. Look at that.
Wow.
You guys saw that?
Oh, yes.
Oh my
Look at the cute
god.
triangle.
Look, it's still super bright. Thank you.
We all had it through. Thank you. The color is changing direction. Oh, now it's like straightening back out again. Oh, there's another. Oh.
There you go. Thank you so much for that. Okay. There's another one. Thank you.
Oh, there's another one.
Splash
next to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys want to cross paths?
Beautiful. Could you get even brighter?
Brighter.
I know we asked for a lot. They're like, dance, monkey, dance. Thank you for that.
Dance.
There's one moving in the middle of the... Okay, left to right in the middle of the dip. Could you get brighter, please? There we go. There we go. Right there. You see that? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Right?
But so that was a really amazing experience that I'm super grateful for. I also felt a little relieved because I have imposter syndrome a lot. Because you can't control this phenomenon, and you want people to have an experience and you want them to believe. But at the end of the day, it's up to them and it's up to the orbs. I can only try to facilitate as much as I can. So that was an experience I was very grateful for. That was really cool.
That's definitely something to flex. I skywatched in Robert Monroe's backyard, just saying, I
hadn't even thought about that.
I wish I could say that.
That's a cool flex. What do you think, or what do you believe these beings, because I believe they're like beings, what do you think their message is to humanity right now? Like, why do you think because I feel like there's an increase in sightings. I feel like they're showing up more, maybe. So like, what do you think the purpose of them is, or their message for humanity? Like, why are they here? What do you think about that?
I think that we are farther away from God as a society as we probably ever have been. I think most people out there are too busy. They don't make the time. They don't even, they're busy dealing with the bills, dealing with their kids, dealing with their jobs, that they don't have the time or the capacity to even think about spirituality. I think that there's a lot of suffering going on in the world. And there is a lot of divisiveness going on in the world. There is a lot of pitting people against each other because your beliefs are different from one another. And there is enough room for everybody, in my opinion. And it's okay if you don't agree with one another. And it's okay if you don't even like each other that much. But I think that they are coming to tell us you need to connect with God and you need to connect with your neighbors. And you just need to put more love out there because there is too much negativity in this world. And that is just my belief, that you're never going to find something in common with everybody. But what do we all have in common is that we have the capacity to love. So.
Oh man, I feel like we came from love, we're made of love, we come to earth and we forget all of that. And then like it's a spiritual process of getting back to that.
Right.
Right. Because like I said earlier, we've spoken to so many people that have had NDEs, OBEs, SDEs, people that have literally died and come back to life. And they all talk about the importance of love. They all talk about the importance of unity. They all talk about like, we're all connected. You know what I mean? So it's like a very coming together kind of thing, which I think is cool. I feel the need to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to Smart Dog for introducing us. Shout out Smart Dog. Thank you so much. I'm connecting with everything we're talking about here. No wonder why you wanted me to talk to Kory so bad. I love this. Please do our audience a favor and let them know where they can find you online. Drop your links. Let them know what kind of cool stuff you have going on.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram and YouTube. My handle is Kory MooFO, kind of like UFO, but MooFO. And check me out on Instagram and YouTube. I'm just trying to put some light and love out there in the world. I like to cover topics, obviously, like the orbs, expanded consciousness, psi abilities, meditations, stuff like that. So yeah, join me on this crazy journey. I'm having fun.
Sounds good. Ask her your famous question.
So Kory, what's your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
I hope that people start to realize that God is true and God exists. And my rabbit agrees, if you heard him. God's true, God exists, and that I don't ever want to be preachy, but I just want people to find spirituality in whatever way is going to enrich their own lives and bring positivity and balance to their own life. So that's what I hope for humanity, for love, for God, and for balance for the world and for all of us individually.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's one of the things that you're most looking forward to in the upcoming, let's say next year or two?
Personally, I'm looking forward to traveling and seeing my friends because I love them, and they live all over the place. So a couple times a here we like to get together. But there's been a lot of talk about this knowledge that's going to be revealed to humanity. I think the knowledge is God, obviously, is like maybe Christ consciousness or the fact that God is real. And everybody who doesn't believe is kind of missing out. You know, newsflash, sorry, but you're kind of missing out. I was like that most of my life. But that's what I'm looking forward to, is for more people to realize that there's more to life than just this. And I think more people will start to see it. And it's not going to come from our government. It's going to come from people who have personal experiences and help share them. So if there's anybody listening who has personal experiences and who is afraid to come out and share them, I was like you. It made me sick thinking about like putting myself out there on the internet. It still gives me anxiety. I still don't like the comments that I get sometimes and the negativity, and I just gotta kind of push that away.
You have to ignore it.
I know.
I ignore it too.
I usually do. I like to interact with the positive comments, but then sometimes I'll catch like, you know, one of the negative ones. I'm like giving them side eyes. But, you know, if you are able to put yourself out there and share your experiences, I think that will do a lot of justice for humanity, and that there are a lot of people out there like you who are experiencers, and that you're not alone. There's a lot of amazing people out there that want to connect with you. And there's a home for everybody is what I've come to learn. So
awesome. I have two thoughts that are swimming around in my head, and I feel like I need to get them out. Okay. You mentioned that the government is not going to tell you that this is real. So now I feel the need to ask you, like, what is your evaluation of the current status of UFO disclosure?
I think that there are people in our government. I'm not super well versed in this stuff. I pay attention to it enough, but like, you know, Representative Burchett, Representative Luna, and other people that are part of that kind of disclosure committee. Those are the people that have flat out said to the public, this is a spiritual phenomenon. And I think there are people that do want to make a difference, but there are, if you want to call them dark forces at the top, there are people at the top who are running the world that don't want this to get out for whatever reason. They think that we can't handle it, even though like every civilization before us has been dealing with this phenomenon, it seems. Even back to like the cavemen, I think.
Right.
They've been dealing with this phenomenon, and it's been a part of their life, but we have been deprived of that. And I don't think it's going to come from the government. For whatever reason, they're controlling it. That's why I think it's so important for all of the little people to come forward with their experiences and share their light and love and their truth, because the government is just going to keep saying, you know, it's this or it's that, or it's swamp gas or weather balloons or whatever. You know, we can't talk about it. We got to go into a skiff, and
right.
They just keep you on this tether and like keep pulling you, and then they just, you know, it's very unsatisfying at the end of all of these meetings. So I'm not holding a lot of stock that they'll tell us the truth.
Yeah, I feel the need to quote Ryan Graves right now. And if you're not familiar with Ryan Graves, he was one of the UFO whistleblowers that testified at the UAP hearings
for a fighter pilot.
Yes, thank you. And he said, quote, "The government doesn't have the right to classify reality," end quote. And I love that because it's like, how dare they keep this kind of secret from like literally everybody, you know? And I mean, like you said, this type of interaction, in my opinion, has gone back since ever. Like a lot of people like to start the UFO timeline at like 1933 with the Magenta crash in Italy. And I'm like, no. We need to go back to like the Jesus days, because what were the three kings following through the desert? I'm just asking a question. You know, it could be a UFO. Right. Who knows? It could have been an orb guiding them to Nazareth.
Yeah, there's multiple cave paintings that are weird. There's multiple
the Nazca lines, those
hieroglyphics. Yeah.
Like there's just so many things. So many things.
I think this phenomenon is ancient.
It is like literally as old as ever. Like I feel like it's always been.
Which, right. That makes sense if it's a spiritual phenomenon.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Have you guys just this quick sidebar? Have you ever heard of the hominid Homo naledi? Have you ever heard of it? That's I I recommend looking into the Homo naledi. And I can't remember how long ago they lived, but they were a tiny little hominid. I think they were around like 3 or 4 feet tall. So they were like cousins to us. And humans found their remains deep inside these like really expansive cave systems. And what these tiny little hominids were doing was when one of their loved ones passed away, they would, as a group, because it couldn't just be done by one of them, as a group, they would bring this loved one deep into these caverns, like way out of their way for like a ritualistic burial. And they would bury their loved ones with tiny little tools or like little trinkets that presumably belonged to their loved one. And not only that, but they found crosses etched everywhere inside of the caves. So there's obviously a lot of speculation as to like, if these were basically little tiny monkeys, why were they going to such great lengths to pay respect to their loved ones, to ceremoniously bury them? And also, where did they get the sign of the cross from? Is this something that, I mean, is that the reason that we are even here in the first place? Because this phenomenon is what created us and maybe created all the other hominids. And it leaves a lot of questions, but I recommend looking into it. The Homo naledi. It's very, very cool.
I will definitely look into that.
It connects to spirituality and all this stuff in a really cool way.
I wonder if they have any relation to like the Nazca mummies. Like there's 4 different classes of Nazca mummies that have been talked about a lot recently. And they're still doing tests on them and finding out all these different things. They're like scanning the bodies. And I think they said like one was pregnant, and there's a lot of information about the Nazca mummies. So I'm wondering
about the pterodactyls. Right?
The pterodactyls. Yeah. There's 4 different I'm not well versed on it. In my brain, in my mind, the whole Nazca thing is like in one mushy category. I don't have it well defined in my mind. I know there's a lot of nuances there. I highly recommend, if anybody wants to know more about the Nazca mummy situation, Jesse Michaels on American Alchemy did a really good deep dive on it and wrapped it up neatly and put a little bow on top and everything. So if you want to know more about that, go check out that video. But the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, since it's relevant right now, is what's your opinion on 3-Eye Atlas? Do you know about 3-Eye? He's talking about 3-Eye Atlas.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I know a little bit about it. I've read some articles. I know that, and you know what's, I'm going to tell you something right now.
Okay.
The other day, I was thinking about this meeting that we had planned, and I heard you ask me about 3-Eye Atlas. I'm having a super crazy, weird deja vu moment.
Wow.
And I already know what I'm going to say because I thought about it.
Okay.
I love that for us.
That's so weird. But
That's so awesome.
I don't know a ton about it. What I know is that it's not behaving like a normal comet, is it? It's not behaving like a normal comet. It didn't have a tail. Now it has a tail in the front or on the side or something. It's also accompanied by like 7 other, I don't even know what to call it. It's tinier comets, I've heard. I know that Avi Loeb is like just really pushing this idea that it could be something else. And he has this scale. I don't know if it's called like the Loeb scale, but it's something that he personally developed, where it's like measurable criteria to determine how likely something is or is not a comet. And that, I don't know, if it scores like a 10, then it is a comet. If it's a 1, then it's not. And it's like a 4. It's like a 4 on the scale, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Okay.
So it's more on the anomalous side. Now, I also think it's a little weird that why did they not show us pictures when it passed by Mars? Isn't that like a big conspiracy? They're like, the government's shut down. And you're like, okay, but the cameras are still rolling, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
So
NASA definitely has more information on that, and they are blaming it on the shutdown. They're like, oh, we don't have any, because they're saying they only have essential workers, that the non-essential workers have been sent home, and it's their job to tell us what's going on. So of course it's convenient that the people that are supposed to tell us aren't working right now. Just saying.
Yeah, it's always just like passing the blame off on someone else as to why.
Never a straight
sorry.
answer. Did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily like a spaceship or something like that. I've heard theories about it could be something that could change the frequency or emit certain frequencies towards us. Hopefully it's like angel frequencies or like really loving, relaxing frequencies or something. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I have not made up my mind at all. Because I'm just open to taking in new information, because there's scientists that are talking about this. There's regular people that are talking about this. There's people that are saying that they've channeled it and they've spoken to the beings that are in or on it. And then there's people that are saying that they've remote viewed it and they saw something different. So it's like, I literally refuse to make up my mind until we know for sure. But I do think there's a lot of really weird, anomalous things going on. I mean, this thing just got blasted by like 11 different solar flares and it's still on course. It's taking this weird trajectory through space. It's emitting all these light. It's like got a tail in the front, like you said. There's just so many things that like add up to weird.
there's eight profound anomalies that are very different from a normal comet with this one. You know, like you mentioned a minute ago, the tail, at first it had a jet of almost a tail, but a jet pointed directly towards the sun, which would indicate that it was trying to slow down or, maneuver in some way. And now they're saying that the tail is pointing the other way, away from the sun now. So we've never seen something flip like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Another anomaly about it is the amount of light that it's reflecting. It's reflecting an enormous amount of light for its size. So that indicates that it could be producing its own light somehow. Another weird thing is the type of material that it is outgassing. It's outgassing nickel and iron at exceptional rates, is what they said. And the ratio between the nickel and the iron doesn't really make sense. There's a lot more nickel than iron. And if you have that much nickel, you should have more iron than nickel, and you don't. I mean, that's just a couple of the weird things that are about this object.
There was also that bit about how didn't it eject like a large amount of water?
Yeah.
Somebody said something about it ejected a large amount of water, and then people were speculating that it would do that to reduce weight so that it could make a maneuver when we weren't looking because we can't see it behind the sun. Like,
that's so funny, because I worked in naval aviation for years, and that they called that fuel dumping. Whenever they needed to land on the aircraft carrier, they had to be like under a certain weight. So that's anyway, that's just my little connection.
That's basically what they were saying.
Fuel dumping right now because it's going to be changing, or
fuel dump? The comet's fuel dump?
I know, right?
What did you do in naval aviation?
I was an avionics technician. I worked in Norfolk, Virginia, and I deployed on the USS Lincoln in 2019. So I was on an aircraft carrier.
Wow.
And it was a really difficult but really cool part of my life. And I got my husband out of it because I met him. Cool. He was in the Navy for almost 7 years, and now he's in the Coast Guard. So and he's an avionics technician still. So yeah, we like planes.
Okay. I'm an aircraft mechanic.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
wow, look at these synchronicities.
I know, right? I work on business jets.
Oh, very cool. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really interesting.
Synchronicity.
I know, right? That's so funny.
Another thing I feel the need to ask you, because you probably already heard me asking you this, is what is your opinion on Dr. Beatrice Villarroel's papers that were just published talking about the astronomical plates seeing transient lights up in the sky before we sent satellites to space? So there's lights in the sky pre-Sputnik.
And it's now peer-reviewed and accepted and published in 2 prominent journals.
Yep.
Okay, so I haven't reviewed those papers myself, but I have seen videos like touching base on them.
Okay.
And I'm not surprised that, like, oh, okay, we have documentation. Great. Like, but I think that that's so cool. And that is such a great step in the right direction. But is it something that people are going to pay attention to? They need to. This needs to be picked up by I don't even know why we have major news media anymore.
Right.
It should just all be just these independent people. I mean, all of these like independent YouTubers and podcasters, they're making more of a difference these days, in my opinion.
Yeah, even TikTokers.
I know, which is crazy, but you got to reach people the best way that you can. And I think that is so cool and just really validating. And for anybody who's interested in reading about documented sightings throughout like antiquity, they should check out this book that I read by Jacques Vallée and another author by Chris Bledsoe is his name. And the book is called Wonders in the Sky. And it's like 500 stories that they've picked that have occurred over the last like 2,000 plus years from all different civilizations around the world, where these civilizations documented these crazy experiences, whether they be lights in the sky. Sometimes they would call them shields because that's what they looked like to them, like shields descending down, which what does that sound like? Kind of like a modern day UFO, as we call it. They also talk about abductions, people being abducted and then being returned and saying that they literally went to heaven and that there was an orchestra of angels singing, and seeing beings that came down from the sky. So check out Wonders in the Sky. These are real documented cases over a couple thousand years. So I would recommend that book to people.
Awesome. All right. So audience, you have homework. Wonders in the Sky and UFOs of God. Just saying.
Yes.
I expect a report next week when we come back.
Right.
Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you thought.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. All right. One last question. How has your understanding of consciousness evolved throughout this journey since you had that first sighting with Bledsoe in 2020?
Good question.
It's been a huge progression over time to learn and understand that we are more than our physical bodies. I've never been more certain in life after death. I even think, based on NDEs, which I'm sure you guys know, people describe the other side as more real than what we're experiencing now. So based off of, my experiences with Chris and the orbs and reading books on NDEs, that this is like not even the real world, man. This is like where we're here to learn stuff, and that our consciousness lives on forever, that your consciousness can leave your body, right? Having out of body experiences and whatnot. But it's been a long progression. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I've never been more confident, at least now, that there's something fishy going on,
right?
After death.
Yeah, for sure. I know. And then the idea of like, I remember when I first really accepted the idea of living past lives. That was like a big thing for me because I was raised as a Catholic and we don't believe in reincarnation. So when I really started to like accept that, I was like, wow, this is something different. And then I had a hypnosis session where I experienced one of my parallel lives. Do you guys want to hear this really quick? We took out the 10-minute thing, but I'll tell
hear it.
Yeah, I'll tell the story in a condensed version. I had a hypnosis session where I was like a past life regression therapy thingy. And basically one of the lives was I was in this cave. It was definitely like a cave, but the walls were made of crystals. They were made of crystals, like these big, huge points just sticking out of the wall. And I was sitting in a circle with like all these other beings, and we weren't human. We were definitely like the grayish type of alien, like the big head, the little skinny body type of situation. And we had on like a really, really tight bodysuit. Like it was like, it almost looked like it was just skin. It was that tight. And in the center of us sitting in the circle was this other really big crystal. And we had our hands out and we were essentially like sending energy to the crystal. All of us were sending energy to the crystal. And then the crystal had a light going up that was sending our good energy and amplification to the earth.
Okay.
Whoa.
So I'm living a parallel life somewhere, sending good vibes to us, like right now. Like, thank you, other self. Like,
wow,
it's a lot to wrap your mind around, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot to wrap your mind around. I don't know if I just made that shit up or whatever, but I'm just letting you know that's what I experienced during my hypnosis section. I was like, wow, okay, so I'm a whole alien sending energy to Earth. And the thing that got me about that is it didn't feel like it was in the past, because there were other lives that I experienced in that session that definitely were in the past. But that one felt like it was concurrently occurring.
I wonder if you can connect with that other version of yourself, like through meditation or something like that.
Yeah, no.
That would be really cool.
I don't know why I never thought of that. Thank you, Kory.
That would be cool.
Now
you got some homework.
Yeah, we should totally do that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what their name is or something. I don't know.
And I
That's
wonder
so many
also
questions.
if like maybe she can send some healing energy to you specifically, especially in times of need, or if you're going through a period of time, just be like, girl, use that crystal, use those powers, help me out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go away and think about all that now. That's really
Awesome.
cool. I'm glad I shared that story. I don't usually talk about it.
That was
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, cool. We are unfortunately running out of time. Kory, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we close out for today?
Yeah, I suppose that it's important for everybody to know that these higher dimensional beings already know who you are. They love you and they want to connect with you, and you have the ability that none of us are special. I'm not more special than you guys or anybody else. That I'm just here to show you that there's more out there than just us, and to pass the torch to you to expand your consciousness and your awareness, and to explore this and connect with God. That's my biggest takeaway. I hope you guys get.
That's Kory's TED Talk. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Make sure to tip your waitresses.
Yeah.
No, I'm being silly, but that was a beautiful message. I'm not trying to diminish it. I think it was great.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no.
I do
That's
too.
funny.
I do too.
Thank you. And I appreciate it. I could talk to you guys for hours. So if you ever want to come back for a part 2,
Oh, absolutely.
we could talk about all kinds of
Say
stuff.
less.
I really
Say less.
enjoyed
It's
really
done
enjoyed
already.
talking to you guys. So thank you, Smart Dog, for connecting us.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm very much so looking forward to doing a Skywatch event with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
I'll email you guys and let you know when I'll be in town.
Oh, amazing.
Awesome.
Okay.
Amazing.
All right. And for our audience that's sticking around, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with us tonight. Please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and then share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word. We have a goal of reaching 1K subs by 2026. We just made 800. Yay! Help us reach our
Nice.
goal. Okay, cool.
right.
Kory, we have a 3-piece
Yeah.
closer. I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and then if you're available to join us, you're more than welcome. We do much love, peace, and namaste. Are you down?
Yes, let's do
Okay,
it.
Okay.
here we go.
All right.
All right. Much love, peace, and namaste.